let's go ahead and start. The weekly road and bridge meeting for Bonneville County. And I think first on the agenda, we will take up our bid opening. So let me read the notice first, and then Lance will have you explain anything that needs to be explained. We sent out an invitation to bid from the Bonneville County Commissioner's Office. Sealed proposals for construction of Ammon Road widening will be received by Bonneville County Commissioner's Office, 605 North Capitol Avenue, Idaho Falls, until 4 p.m. local time on May 21st, and will publicly be opened and read aloud May 22nd, 2024 at 10 a.m. Local time as part of the County Commissioners meeting. Bids will be received for a single contract on a unit price basis. The proposal consists of shoulder widening on Ammon Road for the addition of a middle turn lane from Lincoln Road to Telford Road. This includes pit run, road base, asphalt material, and stormwater system on the corner of Ammon Road and Telford Road. Additional project elements include residential approach, pavement markings, protecting existing signs and mailboxes, and traffic control. It then talks about the process for making a bid, goes through all the details, and at the end it says no bid may be withdrawn after the scheduled time for the public opening of bids as set forth above. The right is reserved to reject any and all proposals received, to waive informalities, to postpone the award of the contract for a period not to exceed 45 days, and to accept the lowest responsive and responsible bid, which is in the best interest of the owner, which is Bonneville County. This was published in the Post Register on May 3rd, 10th, and 17th. Is there anything specific?
Wasn't it one addendum that they'll have to acknowledge as part of the bid documents?
And it should be in here.
It should be on there. The other thing is we'll do the notice of the award. We'll probably try to do that next week.
Okay.
So today you'll announce the amounts, and then we'll give those results back to Forestry and Engineering to evaluate and make sure there was no mathematical errors.
Okay. All right, with that, the first, we only have two, correct? The first bid that we will open is from H&K Contractors. Make sure I get the right place. So this is addendum 1, is that?
That looks like the bid form,
Okay.
not addendum 1, but
It has addendum number 1 on the top, but it does say bid form for construction contracts. Make sure I get to the right place here. Line bid bond. That part of it?
yes.
Well, that is there. Okay. I'm having a hard time seeing a total on it. Am I missing something here, John?
It should be a total, but it's based on a per unit price. There should be a total price on there.
I see all of the units, but I don't see a total. It's not on any of these other documents. What do you recommend? You want to add them?
We can add them afterwards. What we'll have to do is just evaluate them, have Forestry and Engineering evaluate based on that. With usually there's a line for a total price.
I'm not seeing it unless I'm missing it. You want me to read each? You suggest I read each itemize?
It's on the separate page.
Yeah, let's see the other.
It's still.
Build on to the next page.
Come show, go, come, oh, whoa.
Yeah.
I found it.
Yeah. Took me a while to figure it out.
I'm sorry. Yeah, it is pretty small
Yeah.
and hidden in this top corner. Thank you for your help. There is a totaled amount of $2,020,000, $20,030. Am I reading that right? 2020035. 2,020,035.
Even.
Even, 0 cents. Okay, sorry, I couldn't find that. The next bid is from Ninth River Corporation, out in the west. Then we have a per unit. If you see the grand total on this one,
Now we know we look at the next page.
well, no, it's on the same page. We have a bid bond. Surety acknowledgement. Attorney. And the license at the end.
Contractor license, okay. Did they acknowledge addendum number 1 anywhere on there?
No, we didn't.
I don't see it. The grand total on this one is $1,489,980.
We'll do and see, we'll give it back to Forestry Engineering, have them evaluate it, see whether addendum 1 made any significant change to it, and have them evaluate and come back with a recommendation.
Okay, is there any questions from the commissioners? Okay, thank you.
I should tell you, say the apparent low bid is Knife River and Glen.
Okay,
Senate.
that is the apparent low bid. It is Knife River. Restate the amount.
$1,489,980.
Okay, we appreciate both of those bids, appreciate both your companies very much and the work that you do in Bonneville County. So thank you for submitting those bids. Okay, next we will move to a findings of fact.
How many copies of them? I'm not- Yeah, that's what I got. Tomorrow morning.
Yeah, I can say today.
Okay, that works.
This was an application of amendment from AHG Capital, and go
Yep.
ahead, Austin, I'll turn it to you.
So the amendment request was from A1 to RP or A1 and RP to R1.5 for AHG Capital. It's located on the north side of 49th North, south of US Highway 26 and east of the area known as Beaches Corner, Bonneville County, Idaho. So a copy of this was sent to the commissioners prior to the meeting, but I'll just kind of go through it here for the public that's here in place. The first paragraph just acknowledges the hearings that happened, what the votes were, what the dates were, and then obviously the date of the commissioners' hearing. The majority of the first section underneath that just addresses some general facts about the property, where it's located, the acreage, previous applications, and different zonings that are surrounding it, as well as land uses that are surrounding it. I just really wanted to point out 14, 15, and 16. The property is located within the city of Iona area of impact and adopted by the county, which was adopted by the county in August of 2023. Specifically, it is located in the high density housing corridor, which allows the R1.5 zone to be considered. Prior to the adoption of the high-density housing corridor in the area of impact with Iona, there were 2 public hearings held at the county level for adoption of the agreement, which none of the residents in the immediate area attended and opposed the new area of impact or its associated high-density housing corridor. And then number 16, the concern was expressed by public in the hearing regarding property values if the development was approved, but no evidence was presented to substantiate this development would in fact decrease surrounding property values. Then under analysis and conclusion of law, starting with C, it is the county commissioner's opinion that the proposal does comply with the comprehensive plan and that the plan states to designate separate areas for multifamily residences and to establish multifamily residential areas functionally convenient to a major street. And that the county was proactive in establishing an appropriate area for multifamily residences with the city of Iona, that the area is convergent to multiple arterial roadways that intersect, which allows easy access to residential and commercial areas, and that the county is in the process of designing a 5-lane arterial roadway on 49th North. This application complies with the goals of the comprehensive plan. Then going to F, and in the copy that you have, I was copy and pasting this over to put it on letterhead this morning, so 4 and 5 shouldn't be in there. I'll fix that. They're duplicates of 1 and 2. But I'll just read through these really quick. The opinion of the county commissioners is that the planning commission erred in their denial of the application for the following reasons. They stated in their decision that the uses to the east and west of the property are not compatible with the use. The comprehensive plan specifically states that the zone should permit a variety of dwelling types which will mix or distribute the population of neighborhoods. Major residential areas should not be unduly stereotyped or exclusive. It is the opinion of the board that the RP zoning designation to the west, which is currently developed as a single-family home, but does in fact allow lots with an area as small as 15,000 square feet, is in fact compatible with the R1.5 zone, as they are both uses allowed to be considered in the mixed-use land use area. The area to the west is zoned agricultural and will be buffered from any additional impacts that may be caused by the R1.5 zone. 2, they stated in their decision that the application be denied because of traffic and safety relating to increased traffic and the school across the street. It is the opinion of the board, after reviewing all the minutes from both planning and zoning public hearings, that there was no evidence presented in either hearing to substantiate an unreasonable increase in traffic or a decrease in the safety of the area. It was in fact stated in the minutes by the applicant multiple times that the school will be required to provide busing from the development across the street. The applicants also submitted as part of their application a preliminary traffic analysis and acknowledged that their requirement to improve their frontage on 49th North to a 5-lane arterial roadway section. 3, the Planning and Zoning Commission approved the area of impact agreement with the city of Iona, which specifically included this property in the high-density housing corridor on June 28th, 2023 with the unanimous vote. It is opinion of the board that the Planning and Zoning Commission erred in denying this residential density in an area which they set apart for this exact use within the prior year. G just goes over the regular requirements and buffering that will be required for the development. And then finally, the decision. Based on the above facts and findings, the Bonneville County Commissioners hereby approve the request for amendment of the present RP and agricultural A1 zoning to R1.5 residential, subject to the following conditions, which goes over all the conditions in G. There is one special condition, which is if the Dunkleys exercise their right, as mentioned and confirmed in the hearing under the purchase and sale agreement between Chantal and Robert Dunkley and AHG Capital LLC, to give AHG Capital LLC their money back and take the ground back as deeded in instrument number 1754073. This portion of the ground will remain zoned A1 agricultural. Any questions for me?
Yeah, and it did bring up that there would be the buffering.
Yeah, that's in,
Protect that property.
that's in C under the conditions.
Yeah,
So I need to fix that lettering too. I'll fix that.
I heard that we adopt the findings with the correction of removing the two duplicate paragraphs and renumbering items.
Okay, thank you. We've got a motion. We have a second.
Yeah.
Okay, any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, thank you, Austin.
Yeah. So we'll get that signed. I'll make the corrections and then we'll send a copy out to the applicant, so.
Okay. All right, thank you. We'll go back to you. Lance.
There was one item on the agenda, we're gonna have to pull that from the agenda. LTAC was not able to finalize those numbers on the state level. So we'll do that at a different time.
Okay. So you did have open, discussion items. Is there anything that you guys needed to talk about during that? I've got one item that,
So I just want to give you an update that they are intending to pave from, what was it? Iona up to 41st North, Thursday and Friday this week, so that'll be the next half a mile. That will be paved on 45th East. And they're continuing to work. They've got through most of the problems with the Intermountain gas line that was too shallow. So they figured out a way to go and deal with that and come over the top of it, so. We have some concrete slurry flowable fill over the top of the gas line in a couple different sections. But they figured out a way to keep going with that.
So it'll be all 3 lanes up to 31st,
Up to 41st,
41st.
yeah.
So they're not gonna open half of it, which I think is.
No, there's still gonna be some road closures because they're still working on that north of there, but they do intend to pave that half a mile this weekend or
I think
Thursday,
we should
Friday.
wait till the other half before we get that open.
Yeah, they'll be doing manhole lids.
No. That'll get you home again.
Yeah.
that's good,
Yeah, they're making good progress.
really good progress.
That was all I wanted to update you about.
Okay, I did have, a person and I spoke with Austin about this, Dean Price. He owns a parcel of ground. Remind me, Austin, where that's at. It's next to a county gravel pit.
It's called the Baldwin Pit, I believe, off of
Baldwin,
55th East.
And he would like to be able to sell off a little corner lot he has on that, but it has no building right on it, correct?
Yeah.
And so, there has been, we have considered transferring building rights, selling building rights from the county. And so he wondered if we would be interested in looking at that. I got an option or a recommendation from Austin to not sell that division right. And not offer that for sale. Why? What's the difference between that one and what we did before?
The one out on the other pit, we had a bunch of division rights. We had like 6 or 7. I can't remember off the top of my head. This is the only one left on the property. So my recommendation was that the county keep that division right just in case the pit's ever reclaimed and we decide to sell the property or do something else with the property. Because the pit doesn't cover the whole portion of the property currently. It's just kind of on the back north portion, correct?
Well, right now, and we do have other ground that we have leased out to Dean Price for grazing purposes that we're eventually gonna have to encroach into.
Okay,
So
well,
my recommendation would just be we keep that for now until we know what the future is. And if the property gets all the way mined out and it can't be utilized, then I think at that point we could look at maybe doing something with it, but.
when he asked me, I said, well, you'll have to just make a request to the entire board of commissioners if whether we would, look at that. He couldn't come until Thursday, but I thought we should discuss it today while we've got everybody here. If that's the feeling of the board, I'll just tell him that there's no interest in.
Consistent with what we were gonna do up there because you didn't get rid of everything.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is, Baldwin, it's always been an interesting challenge up there.
Okay. All right, so that's our consensus. Would you have Ashley let him know that that decision was made today and there won't be any building right available for that? Any other discussion items? Austin, did you have anything? You guys? So were you surprised there were only 2 bids for that road?
I was hoping that we would have more,
What was your engineer's estimate?
less than that.
Less than 1.4.
Yeah, I think, well, it was close to the 1.4. It was hovering right around there, so.
I was guessing 1.5.
So what's the addendum that they didn't include?
I don't know. So I wasn't told about there being an addendum, so I'll have to go back and get with Forgren. Just briefly, he said it was something to do with landscaping quantity, so it shouldn't be a lot, but I wanna make sure that that's addressed.
There's sure a lot of difference in those 2 bids.
Yeah.
Big spread.
There is.
Case not busy. That's a tough thing opening up this whole year, because they're all busy,
Oh,
but, it's either that or put it on for another whole year, which,
yeah.
So I was hoping for more. It is what it is.
Yeah.
We need to get Ammon closed down if we're gonna get 45th open, so we gotta move quickly.
that's why I wanted to keep that portion of 45th closed. Then you can go up around Foothill Road, and find a way back in that
That's
way. Long panorama.
Higher, use higher.
Perfect.
And then we close Hammond Road.
Those signs are just recommendations.
It was closed the other day because a tree fell on Friday. A tree fell and hit a power line on Ammon and Hiram right there.
Yeah,
That took the power out,
Yes.
so everybody was detouring through
Apparently
the
it's really
neighborhood and they
complicated to
couldn't
get
figure.
fixed.
They couldn't figure out how to get out on the other side. I mean, it was so much traffic, it was crazy, but.
Well, we were gonna go out, by Hatch Hollow, because they had it, so it was least passable to go up to Icy, but they had it Xed out where it's about that much of a drop off, and I thought that might be a little aggressive.
Yeah,
So what's the earth moving project, right up by the railroad tracks on our side of 26?
it's Daryl Kerr's Enterprise Canal Company, they're redoing all the canal beds and piping them all.
Piling up a sizable stack of, looks like topsoil right next to the highway. I thought maybe they were gonna put in a sledding hill or.
Yeah,
don't get that idea that Darren Kerr.
it's just all been part of that Enterprise Canal Company project that he had funding from the state to do, and we gave him he had a hearing for a temporary gravel pit to get the gravel out to do the project. I'll have to go drive by there and see what he's doing then. But recharge, we don't really have a lot to do with. That's all through DQ and the state. They're the ones that give them the funding and the permitting to do it.
Come over for the ribbon cutting.
Yeah,
Got pretty good chunk of money.
we haven't really
Must have, it's.
done any permitting or anything with recharge, and
how many
I
miles
truthfully
of
don't know
canal
what
are
we
they
would permit, because the only thing you're permitting with recharge or that we would be looking at from a county standpoint would be protecting the neighboring land uses, which the only thing you might get is if there's standing water in the bottom of the recharge pit is a little bit of bug problem or something like that, but most of them that DEQ requires them to do our direct recharge, so they don't pond because they don't want the water to get contaminated and then go down into the aquifer, so they have to directly go into the aquifer.
Okay, maybe I should, I do have one other item that we ought to discuss in an open meeting. Sean, did you have anything? Or
Did you guys make a decision on that 17th Southwest vacated request?
No,
No, not yet.
still working, waiting on Weston on the findings of fact.
You did get the transcript.
Yes.
Okay, we needed a transcript because on a road vacation. That helps to refer to the specific things. That was the request.
So, not really road and bridge, but it's planning and zoning. So I think it's part of this, and I'll just briefly mention it, just so that it's in open meeting. I see, Austin, you have another email that came to you last night concerning the fireworks. I got a phone call last night from Carl Taylor, who was really concerned about shutting somebody off after they've got all their inventory right before. Carl's pretty connected with Hanson's, as you know. Carl had some ideas he wanted to discuss with me, and just briefly, he said, you know, what if he just has a display in the building? They don't sell them out of the building, but a sign that says, to purchase these, you go to this location outlined, or a warehouse that is fire coded in the county in order to meet the state statute. That was the request he made. And I said, I don't know, Carl. So
They can't sell them out of the stand,
they
but I don't
wouldn't be
know,
selling them.
I don't know why, if it's
Could he
a,
display them?
Static.
what is he meaning by display? He's gonna set them out and say, go buy these somewhere else?
Yeah.
Or
Because he said everybody's gonna be coming there expecting to buy them because they have in the past. And so if we were at least displayed there, they would not sell any out of there.
Don't they have a building they could?
He said he thinks they have found a building that they can do, but it's just not a location that they can
They're
easily sell out of, you know?
well,
Yeah.
I need to think
And I've
about
got
it a
Mr.
little bit.
Russman calling me right now.
It's kind of a. Yeah,
Slippery slope.
yeah.
Well,
It's, the whole thing is, and I talked to Brian yesterday and talked to him about this very thing, and I said, if you're gonna be a wholesaler, that's a whole different ballgame than opening a retail stand on the side of the road to sell non-aerial common fireworks, right? Because as a wholesaler, your responsibility is you're selling them to people for export, one. Or two, you're selling them to retailers somewhere else that can then turn around and sell them however they choose, right? So he can't really set it up and say, this is a retail stand where you can come in and purchase one-offs. It's set up as this is a wholesale firework business. If you look at the two buildings that are in Boise, that's exactly how they are, is they're set up as wholesale businesses. And they open 4, 5, 6 different times a year where people can come in and either sign the waiver, which is allowed through the state statute that says we're gonna export these out of the state. Or they're selling them in bulk to retailers or to people who have public display permits. So I don't know that we really wanna promote at the stand.
Well,
Hey, you're an individual, you can go buy these at this site, but. I mean, I don't know why the people working there can't say, hey, these are available for purchase if they ask where they are.
is there anything that would justify us telling the business that they could not advertise something for sale at another location?
Probably not.
And I
Maybe a line to draw would be like that. Pictures, but not the actual
Yeah,
product.
that's kind of what I was thinking, if they have a
or
sign.
dead
that says-
product.
Well,
If they're fake.
Buy those together.
Yeah, if they're, yeah,
I think if it's in their stand where they're selling the non-aerial, but from what Brian told me, I don't even think he has any non-aerials to sell.
Run it by West.
So it's just all conjecture.
Cause I was talking to him about it yesterday and I said, you can still open your stand and sell the other ones, you know, the non-aerial.
so he's quit
conduits.
selling all of his others.
And he's like, well, it's too late in the game for me to even get any of those. I've already put my orders in for everything that I want.
Really, so all.
So I don't even know that that would be my return question is, do they even have fireworks to sell that are non-aerial common? Cause that's the only reason they should have a stand open.
So he must have converted this year to entirely.
So that's kind of, and Brian just tried to call me too, so I'm sure that's what he's gonna ask, but.
And I mean, it's a lot. It's 4 times the number I was throwing out yesterday in inventory. It's huge numbers.
Right, but I'll let him set up a big front.
That's my concern is the stand is, that's all it's gonna be, is saying, go here to buy these and.
It's my, as you guys all know, it's my neighbors, it's my side of town. I'm not gonna be the person on this. So I'm gonna tell them that they gotta come in and meet with all of us, cause I'm not gonna, nor should I. It wouldn't be appropriate for me and I shouldn't. So I'm just gonna tell him he's gotta come in and meet with all of us.
Because I'm gonna follow legal counsel's advice and they were.
And I don't know why they couldn't, I mean, to his point, if they have a stand that they actually are selling non-aerial commons out of, right? I don't know why he couldn't put a sign up that says
Exactly.
more selection available at our wholesale warehouse at this address. I don't have a problem with that. I just don't want it to be, they set the stand up just to display all the aerial fireworks.
All the
And
things you
basically
can't-
people go there and then they're sending them down the road. If he has other stuff he can sell, I'm fine with that, but my impression kind of was that he didn't even have any of those to sell.
And maybe that's his problem is he's got this place, he's got this huge tent. And now he can't sell anything out of there then.
I'll call him, he just tried to call me, call and chat with him.
Okay, and tell him because of my conflict that he needs to schedule an appointment with me, with all 3 commissioners to, just don't even call me. I can't get in the middle of this. So, and I'll call Carl back and I'll tell him the same thing.
So is Carl just calling on behalf of Brian? Is that essentially part of the same group?
And Alexa, yeah. Yeah,
Yeah, I'll call and talk to Brian. I don't have a problem chatting with him.
and Carl was like, let's figure this out. I mean, you know, you guys wait for the last minute to tell somebody that's already got X amount in inventory. Said, we gotta figure out a way. You guys know. how
Well-
it is. You know, he
And
always, he looks for solutions. I'm not saying anything bad about Carl. He's always looking for a way to, let's figure it out. Let's not just cut some legs off.
I'll call and talk to him.
Okay. Okay. Anything else? Okay, now we'll close